Hi, this is Jacksonville Cakes and More, and today I'm going to show you how to make Spanish meatloaf. I have here 1 pound of ground beef, lean, 93% meat, 7% fat. And here I have my ingredients. I have here some chopped onions with garlic already nice and chopped. I have some 2 teaspoons of Italian seasonings, and this is an onion with 1 tablespoon of garlic. I have here 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. This is a 1/2 onion for the rest of my plate when I start to cook it. I have 1 egg, 1/2 cup of milk, 1 cup of seasoned breadcrumb, and we are going to start mixing everything together. So with my meat, I want to chop it up. And mostly everything is going to be put in at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and add my salt, my pepper, my Italian seasonings. Okay, I'm going to add my onions and garlic, my egg. And I'm going to just mix this all together here. And the reason we put an egg in is so that it can come together. So you want something to hold it all together. I'm sure there are other people that make meatloaf different ways, but this is a Puerto Rican recipe. My mom, Maria Lemoyne, is the one that invented this recipe, and she's been doing it for many, many years. Absolutely delicious. And we are going to cook it on top of the stove, so this is not going into the oven. I'm going to stick my hands in here once I add my breadcrumb, because we want it to come together into a nice shape. I want to spread those seasonings around here. I see them gathering all in one section. Okay, so here's my breadcrumb, and I'm going to mix my breadcrumb with some milk. And this is something that I learned from Ramsay, where Gordon Ramsay, where he says that if you mix it together, it actually makes your meatloaf and whatever you're doing much softer. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this together. I'm going to add the rest of my milk. And now that my breadcrumb is hydrated, I'm going to start with just about that much while I mix it up together. And this is where I'm going to add my fingers. My hands have been clean, very washed. You can wear gloves if you want to wear gloves. A lot of people have stuff with their hands. They hate putting it in meat and stuff. But if you're old-fashioned like me and my mom, you'll just stick your hands in there. If you ever wondered why your meatloaf is firm after you cook it in the oven and stuff, is because you have not hydrated your breadcrumb. So now that I have this nice and firm here, and it's still a little wobbly, so I don't want to add too much breadcrumb, but I think it needs a little bit more. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. And the breadcrumb also is to hold it all together. And you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it coming together, and it won't fall apart. So you want to be able to lift it up. You want to make sure you have all that breadcrumb incorporated there. You don't want one side to have more breadcrumb than the other. And you see it's not sticking, the meat's not sticking so much to my hands, and this is what we're looking for. I want to close up all my seams because I'm going to braise this now and seal all my sides of the meat when I start cooking it on top of the stove. Okay, so here we are. We're about to now get our meatloaf, you do want to put a little bit of oil in your hand. It could be vegetable oil or olive oil. And we are going to roll this in some white flour. And that is so when we braise it, everything stays nice and firm. And also when we add our other ingredients in the pan, because we are going to be adding tomato juice to this, it soaks up the tomato juice. So I'm going to take my meatloaf now and I'm going to slowly just put it through here. And the tomato soup that I'm using is condensed tomato soup. It is Campbell's. We love Campbell's. But you can use any tomato soup you want. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and now tap it all down. And my oil should be ready. I'm going to go ahead and start braising it. And you just want to flip it over once. So we're going to just braise it there for a few minutes and then we're going to flip it over to the other side. You don't have to flip it on the ends. That's perfectly fine. But you do want to braise it so we can seal the meat so it doesn't fall apart with the tomato soup. Okay, I'm going to flip it over now. And you're going to do this very gently, very delicately. So you saw my meat has not fallen apart. I'm letting the flour toast the meat around. So you can flip your pan over, let it soak like that a little bit. We want that flour to hold this meat together because this is going to cook for a while on top of the stove. And what we don't want is for our meatloaf to fall to pieces. So at this point, I'm going to lower this to medium. So this is now on medium temperature. And I'm going to go ahead and add my tomato soup. Now this is condensed tomato soup. We're going to add some water to this. Water to my tomato soup here. I'm going to stir this up. You could have mixed this prior to adding it onto your meat, but I wanted the condensed part right here on top of my meat, right here. And then we're going to flip it again after about 25 minutes. But right here, all this condensed soup, the nice thick soup is going to be on top just like that. And then I'm going to put my the rest of my onions that I have sliced up. And again, you see how my meatloaf is not stuck to the pan. You see that? That's what you're looking for. You don't want the meatloaf to be stuck to the pan. Onions. And we're just going to let all this cook together. Okay, I'll see you in about 20 minutes. Okay, so our meatloaf is ready. We're about to start serving it, but this is what your meatloaf should look like. I turned it over once and kept putting the tomato soup on top of it, let it cook for a while. This has been cooking for about 45 minutes. And this is how we serve our Spanish meatloaf with some egg noodles sauteed with butter and Italian seasoning. You can serve this with mashed potatoes, with rice, or anything you like. I'm going to show you now the pan. Here it is. We've turned it over once already. That brownness that you see there, that's what you want the meat to have, okay? It's nice and firm, as you can see that we've cut it. And you can serve this with plátanos, you can tostones, which are fried plantains. You can serve it with Spanish roots, malanga, yuca, jautilla, Spanish rice or white rice, mashed potatoes. This dish goes absolutely with everything. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you take a chance at making this delicious Spanish meatloaf on the stove, and that you let me know how it turned out. Thank you so much.